I'm just gonna say it, the latest PlayStation Summer Sale sucks, but here are the best deals I could find for you guys. I am gonna start with the biggest discounts and lowest prices, and we got Dragon Ball XENOVERSE 2, 75% off for just $5. I honestly can't believe this game is still getting updates after all these years. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, this is easily one of the best games in the franchise. Creating your own fighter, reliving iconic moments from the anime, and unlocking tons of transformations never gets old. $5 for the amount of content you're getting here is honestly a steal. Next up is Mortal Kombat 11, a massive 90% off for just $5. Even with Mortal Kombat 1 out now, MK11 is still packed with content. The story mode is fantastic, the roster is huge, and the gameplay feels incredibly polished. If you've been wanting to get into Mortal Kombat without spending much, this is probably the easiest recommendation in the entire sale. Then we have Injustice 2, also $5. This is honestly one of my favorite superhero fighting games ever made. The combat is fast, the story is surprisingly good, and seeing Batman, Superman, The Flash, and the rest of the DC roster beating each other up never gets boring. For $5, this is an absolute no-brainer. Next is NBA 2K26 for PS5, 90% off for just $7. Sports games usually stay expensive for a while, so seeing such a huge discount this early is honestly surprising. Whether you're into My Career, My NBA, or just playing quick matches with friends, there's a ridiculous amount of content here. If you've been waiting to jump into the latest NBA game, now's probably the time. Then we have Resident Evil 2, 80% off for only $8. I genuinely think this is one of the best remakes Capcom has ever made. The atmosphere is incredible. The police station is still one of the greatest locations in horror gaming, and Mr. X, chasing you around, never stops being stressful. If you somehow haven't played this yet, you're getting one of the best survival horror games ever made for less than $10. Next up is Star Wars Jedi. Survivor, 85% off for just over $10. This game improves on Fallen Order in almost every single way. The combat is smoother, exploration is better, and Cal Kestis has become one of my favorite Star Wars characters. If you're even remotely interested in Star Wars, this is an incredible deal. Then we have It Takes Two, 70% off for $12. I'll say it again because I always do. This is probably the best co-op game ever made. Every single level introduces completely new mechanics, so the game never feels repetitive. One minute you're platforming, the next you're solving puzzles, then suddenly you're in an entirely different genre. If you've got someone to play with, don't even think twice. Next is Mafia Trilogy, 80% off for $12. 3 Mafia games for this price is honestly ridiculous. Mafia Definitive Edition alone is worth playing for its incredible story and beautiful remake, while Mafia 2 remains a fan favorite. If you enjoy cinematic crime stories, you're getting dozens of hours of quality gameplay here. Then we have Goat Simulator 3, 60% off for $12. This game is exactly what it looks like, complete nonsense in the best possible way. Everything is built around causing chaos, finding ridiculous secrets, and laughing at the physics. It's even better with friends because nobody has any idea what's happening half the time. Next is Overcooked, all you can eat, 70% off for $12. If you want to test your friendships, this game will absolutely do it. One person is chopping vegetables, someone else is washing dishes, another person accidentally sets the kitchen on fire. And somehow, that's what makes it so much fun. It's chaotic, hilarious, and one of the best couch co-op games ever made. Then we have High on Life, 65% off for $14. This game definitely isn't for everyone, but if you enjoy absurd humor and talking weapons that never stop making jokes, you'll probably have a great time. The gunplay is solid, the world is creative, and it's unlike pretty much anything else out there. Next is Red Dead Redemption 2, 75% off for $15. Honestly, what more can I say about this game? It's still one of the greatest open world games ever made. Arthur Morgan is one of gaming's best protagonists. The world feels unbelievably alive, and even years later, people are still discovering new details. If you've somehow never played Red Dead Redemption 2, this should be your first purchase in the sale. Then we have Mortal Kombat 1, 70% off for $15. This reboot introduces the Kameo system, making fights feel completely different from previous entries. The visuals are fantastic, the fatalities are as over the top as ever, and if you're looking for the newest Mortal Kombat experience, this is a great price to jump in. Next is Teardown, 50% off for $15. I absolutely love this game's destruction physics. Every wall, every building, and almost everything around you can be destroyed. What starts as simple heists slowly turns into planning elaborate escape routes by literally smashing holes through buildings. It's one of the most satisfying sandbox games I've played. Then we have Stray, 50% off for $15. Yes, you play as a cat, but it's so much more than that. Exploring this cyberpunk city through the eyes of a stray cat is surprisingly emotional, and the world is packed with little details that make it feel alive. It's relaxing, charming, and honestly one of the most memorable indie games of the past few years. Next is Outer Wilds, 40% off for $15. I'm going to say the same thing everyone else says. Don't look up anything about this game. Seriously, the less you know, the better. Solving its mysteries yourself is what makes it so special, and by the time the credits roll, you'll understand why so many people call it a masterpiece. Then we have Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, 40% off for $18. I think this game deserved a lot more attention than it got. Pandora is absolutely gorgeous to explore. Flying around on your Icon feels amazing, and the world really captures the feeling of the movies. If you're an Avatar fan, this is definitely worth checking out. Next is Marvel's Spider-Man Game of the Year Edition, 50% off for $20. This is still one of the best superhero games ever made. Swinging through New York never gets old, the combat feels fantastic, and the story is genuinely excellent. The Game of the Year Edition also includes all the DLC, making it an even better deal. Then we have Undisputed, 50% off for $25. If you've been waiting for a proper boxing game, this is pretty much the one. The slower, more tactical gameplay makes every punch matter, and it's a refreshing change from the usual arcade-style sports games. It's still improving with updates, but it's already a solid pickup at half price. Next is DayZ, 50% off for $27. This game creates stories that no scripted game ever could. Every encounter with another player becomes a decision. Do you trust them, avoid them, or risk everything? Surviving for hours only to lose everything in seconds is frustrating, but that's also exactly why DayZ is so memorable. Then we have Kingdom Come, Deliverance 2, 60% off for $28. If you're looking for an RPG that values realism over fantasy, this is one of the best you'll find. Combat actually takes practice. Your character grows naturally over time, and the world feels incredibly immersive. It isn't the easiest RPG to get into, but once it clicks, it's hard to put down. Next is Monster Hunter Wilds, 58% off for just under $30. I honestly think this is one of the most accessible Monster Hunter games Capcom has made. The world feels more alive than ever, the monsters are incredible, and hunting with friends is still one of the most satisfying multiplayer experiences around. If you've always wanted to get into Monster Hunter, this is a fantastic place to start. Then we have Sekiro, 50% off for $30. This is easily one of the hardest games I've ever finished, but also one of the most rewarding. Once the combat finally clicks and you start perfectly deflecting attacks, it feels incredible. It's different from Dark Souls and Elden Ring, but honestly, I think it's just as good. Next is Rainbow Six Siege Ultimate Edition, 25% off for $30. The discount isn't huge compared to the others, but the Ultimate Edition includes an enormous amount of content. Siege is still one of the best tactical shooters around, and if you've been thinking about getting into it, having all those operators from the start makes a massive difference. Then we have Assassin's Creed Shadows, 55% off for $31. This is one of Ubisoft's biggest releases, and finally getting to explore feudal Japan feels fantastic. Switching between Yasuke's brute strength and Nao's stealth gameplay keeps things fresh throughout the entire adventure. If you've been waiting for a decent discount before jumping in, this is a really good opportunity. And then we got Marvel's Spider-Man 2 Digital Deluxe Edition, 50% off for $40. This is still one of the biggest reasons to own a PS5. Playing as both Peter Parker and Miles Morales, using the new symbiote abilities, and swinging across an even bigger New York City is just an incredible experience. The Digital Deluxe Edition throws in extra suits and bonuses on top, making it the ultimate version to pick up. Those are my picks for every PSN Summer Sale deal that's actually worth buying. If I had to recommend just 5 games, I'd go with Red Dead Redemption 2, It Takes Two, Resident Evil 2, Outer Wilds, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2. But honestly, this sale is stacked, and there really isn't a bad pick on this list. Let me know which games you're grabbing from the summer sale, and if I missed one of your favorites, drop it down in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one.